In our fast-paced, tech-driven world, where mysteries are often seen as obstacles to be solved, there lies a body of knowledge so profound that it continually escapes the confines of scientific understanding. As we dissect reality through microscopes and telescopes, an ancient wisdom, lost yet not forgotten, whispers of an interconnected universe and a vast potential within each individual. Scholars like Rupert Sheldrake, a biologist whose work on morphic resonance challenges traditional scientific norms, delve into these mysteries, suggesting that the threads connecting our minds, the cosmos, and our untapped potential may be far more intricate than we have ever imagined. Sheldrake's work draws on esoteric traditions that echo ancient beliefs in an interconnected universe, challenging the mechanistic view of reality that has dominated for centuries. As we look deeper into these ideas, we find that ancient spiritual practices were not merely religious rituals. They were portals to another level of consciousness, a knowledge that may hold the key to a more profound, meaningful human experience. Our journey begins with a radical reimagining of one of history's most enigmatic figures, Jesus. Through a new lens, we see not just a prophet or a divine figure, but a guide offering humanity an empowering message of inner transformation. Texts like the Nag Hammadi, scriptures found in 1945, reveal an image of Jesus as a mystic teacher, urging followers to awaken the divine within. His teachings, often cloaked in metaphor, suggest that enlightenment lies within each person, rather than solely in an external deity. In this view, Jesus' mission was less about saving humanity from sin and more about guiding them towards self-realization. His message, "The kingdom of God is within you," is an invitation to look inward, to uncover our hidden potential, rather than seeking salvation outside of ourselves. Such an interpretation, often overshadowed by traditional dogma, places each of us on a path toward becoming the Christ, a notion that suggests divinity isn't exclusive to any one figure, but accessible to all who seek it. Rupert Sheldrake's research on morphic fields, a concept proposing that patterns of behavior and thought are transmitted through a shared field of energy rather than just through genetics, reopens the dialogue between science and mysticism. According to Sheldrake, these fields connect not only individuals but entire species, holding information that guides behavior, memory, and learning across generations. This idea finds resonance in ancient philosophies, where the universe is described as a web of interconnected energy. Indigenous cultures and mystical traditions have long believed in such an invisible network linking all things. Shamans, sages, and yogis tap into these fields through meditation, ritual, and trance states, accessing a shared consciousness. From this perspective, science and spirituality are not competing explanations, but different lenses that reveal the same underlying truth: that there is a universal memory, a cosmic repository of wisdom, waiting to be accessed by those who know where to look. Let's turn now to one of humanity's oldest and most misunderstood stories: the Garden of Eden. Traditionally, the tale of Adam and Eve's fall is interpreted as a cautionary narrative on disobedience, leading to humanity's exile from paradise. Yet, when viewed through an ancient lens, this myth takes on a vastly different meaning. In many mystical traditions, the tree of knowledge is not forbidden but an invitation to enlightenment. The serpent, often cast as the villain, represents the Kundalini energy, a dormant force within each of us that, when awakened, brings about profound spiritual awareness. Eating from the tree was not an act of rebellion, but a step towards self-realization, and in some interpretations, it symbolizes the very awakening Jesus sought to inspire. This reframing suggests that enlightenment, far from being something we must avoid, is something we are meant to seek actively. Moreover, this interpretation highlights a cosmic balance often lost in patriarchal narratives: the sacred feminine. The serpent and the tree both signify life-giving energy and transformation, elements of a divine feminine presence that was long sidelined by systems of control. By denying this part of the story, humanity may have distanced itself from its full spiritual potential. Shamanism, a spiritual practice dating back over 40,000 years, offers one of the clearest pathways to exploring human potential. Ancient shamans, often considered the world's first scientists, were adept at entering altered states of consciousness. Through rhythmic drumming, sacred dances, and plant-based rituals, they journeyed beyond the physical world into realms where they believed all knowledge and wisdom existed. For shamans, this journey was not escapism, it was a sacred science. They saw themselves as bridges between worlds, bringing back healing, guidance, and insight from these other planes. Despite cultural variations, shamanic practices around the world share remarkable similarities. From the Americas to Siberia, indigenous communities developed rituals and symbols that align closely, as if pointing to a shared understanding of how consciousness can be expanded. This ancient knowledge, preserved in rites of passage, symbols, and chants, suggests that humans possess an innate ability to access higher realms of awareness. With modern technology and material science, such practices have often been disregarded as primitive or superstitious. However, recent scientific studies show that these ancient techniques have measurable effects on the brain. Researchers studying meditation, chanting, and shamanic drumming are discovering that these practices can shift brainwave states, enhancing emotional resilience, focus, and even physical health. It turns out that shamans, despite lacking modern terminology, may have been far ahead in their understanding of how the mind can influence the body and the surrounding world. Ancient societies didn't merely build temples for worship, they designed them as complex machines of consciousness. These structures, from the Egyptian pyramids to the stone circles of Britain, were engineered with an awareness of cosmic alignment and energetic resonance. Scholars have long noted the precise astronomical positioning of many ancient sites, which seems designed to harness solar, lunar, and planetary energy. Within these temples, sacred geometry played a critical role. Built according to precise mathematical ratios, the temples mirrored the patterns found in nature: the spirals of shells, the branching of trees, and the hexagonal structure of honeycombs. By creating structures that resonated with these natural patterns, ancient builders believed they could access the energy of the cosmos. Standing in these spaces, individuals reported feelings of transcendence and connection to something greater. Sheldrake's concept of morphic resonance suggests that these temples may indeed have been charged with a kind of memory, a resonance left by centuries of rituals. When people enter these spaces, they can connect to this ancient energy, experiencing shifts in consciousness that transcend the ordinary. Science is beginning to recognize that architecture and geometry can indeed affect our mental and emotional states, adding credence to the notion that ancient temples may have been consciously designed to elevate human awareness. The re-emergence of ancient spiritual practices aligns strikingly with the newest discoveries in quantum physics. Quantum mechanics reveals a world where particles exist in multiple states simultaneously, where they remain interconnected despite physical distance, and where observation appears to influence reality. These findings resonate with mystical teachings, which have long suggested that reality is not as fixed or linear as it appears, and that consciousness itself is an active player in shaping it. One of Sheldrake's boldest assertions is that consciousness may extend beyond the brain. In other words, the mind is not confined to our skulls, but may reach out, interact, and influence reality on a much broader scale. This perspective dovetails with ancient teachings about the soul and spirit, which assert that our individual consciousness is an aspect of a universal mind. Mystics and shamans often describe this state as an experience of oneness, where the boundaries between self and other dissolve, revealing an interconnected web of existence. Quantum theory supports this idea through the principle of entanglement, where particles remain connected regardless of distance. While science has yet to explain consciousness fully, studies show that certain practices, meditation, visualization, and focused intention, can produce real, measurable effects, hinting at an innate ability to influence reality beyond the physical. The revival of mystical knowledge isn't confined to ancient history. During the Renaissance, figures like Giordano Bruno and Paracelsus reignited the study of alchemy and sacred geometry, connecting science with spirituality. They believed the universe was a living entity, and they saw humans as part of this divine life force. These alchemists pursued not only material transformation, but also personal enlightenment, a journey from base consciousness to a more refined, enlightened state. Alchemy was never just about turning metals into gold. It symbolized the transformation of the self. It involved stages of purification, illumination, and unity with the cosmos, much like the spiritual practices of ancient shamans and yogis. This symbolic journey reflects the teachings of mystics across cultures who speak of reaching the gold within by stripping away ego, attachment, and fear. For Sheldrake, modern science has only begun to scratch the surface of these insights, with concepts like morphic fields hinting at a unified, dynamic force that connects us all. Today, we stand on the threshold of a paradigm shift. As science and spirituality converge, we are rediscovering our place in a vast, interconnected universe. We are starting to see that ancient practices like meditation, sacred architecture, and shamanic journeys offer not only insights into our inner world, but also pathways to influence the outer one. These practices provide tools for activating the consciousness Sheldrake and other scholars suggest is latent within us all. The echoes of the past are calling us to awaken to our full potential and to remember that we are more than our physical selves. The ancients knew this truth and left us a map, encoded in myths, monuments, and mystical teachings. With each step forward, we are invited to bridge the wisdom of our ancestors with the discoveries of modern science, creating a future where humanity's potential is not merely imagined, but fully realized.